What's up guys, Cloudie here, checking in from the America server, and this video is gonna be about building a magic team for Galgoria and what I personally believe are the best choices for each class in this particular raid. Now, I know that you have also asked for a physical version of this that's coming in a day or two. Until then, here is the magic one. And yeah, well, some of you have mentioned that I did not talk about every single character that can be used here. The thing is, I have been told that my videos tend to be a bit too long, I ramble on too long, so I've been trying to cut down on time, and yeah, that's why I just can't really mention every single character every single time, and that's also a bit impossible, to be honest. But yeah, this time we're gonna try and rectify this. I'll go through every single class and mention every character that I feel is viable, and I will also give my top choices which I would take for this raid. The easiest way to do that is in the index, so let's just go there. And while we do that, just to recap, the two main aspects of this fight are to have healing reduction. On the first three stages, you're gonna need like 170%, and above that 220. Thank you for confirming that in the comments. Also, you're gonna need 2 or more DPS, who will be switching around, getting banished, and the other one will be doing the DPS. And for stage 5, which is the most interesting one I believe for farming, you need to be able to dish out around 600 million DPS as a raid. So whether you have like 2 characters who can do 300 each, or like 3 characters who can do 200 each, that's up to you, but yeah, that's about the limit that you need to have. Okay, let's see which characters to pick for this raid. For knights, the very first choice would be Mora, I believe. She brings a lot of healing reduction, amp, attack down, can do magic shred and magic defense shred, and she even has magic defense and magic block for your raids. So definitely the most versatile character here, and yeah, her soul weapon is pretty nice too. So definitely recommend it to bring Mora if you can. With a solar stone, she pretty much can take care of almost all the healing reduction even on the higher stages. So very recommended. Other than that, Jane is also good. She has a lot of amp, she has magic defense shred, she has attack down in her unique weapon, and she takes healing on a bit more level due to her tier 5 perk, so not bad. Celica has some interesting perks. She gives amp, she can shred defense, and she can reduce cooldowns, which is not a bad perk to have. Naraxis, maybe with defense shred and giving defense to your team, not necessarily the best choice, I would say. Sonya, definitely not really a good choice. Taili has some amp, not too bad. I wouldn't really take her either, but I know there are some stage 5 clears with her. Glenvisk can actually work in a magical team for some quick burst ones, I suppose, so she could be one. And Dosarta, she has some amp and some cleansing abilities, but not really something I would take to Galgoria. So best choice, Morad, hands down. Going to warriors. Now, here it depends whether you want a support warrior or a DPS warrior. For a DPS warrior, honestly, I would take Kirze. She can be pretty bursty and just has really good DPS. Definitely, I would promote her over all the other warriors. For support, I believe Visca is the best for bringing attack down and just generally being a good amper. And yeah, Visca, I would take her as a support warrior if I did not have anyone else. But for support, you can also take like Gao, who is a physical one, but he has a lot of CC and he can cleanse and buff. For DPS, you could take Theo, who isn't terribly bursty, and in this fight I believe you need burst because of the 8-second burst windows. So Theo is not necessarily the best choice, I think, but his DPS is fairly consistent and he could be used. You could run Priscilla, who is one of the best buffers in the game, especially with a high soul weapon, and she can make your highest attack character even beefier. The problem is that here you have 2 characters, and the highest attacker may not be the best choice unless you are going for some one-shot strategy, but I'm not quite sure how good that is with magic. There are some physical versions of that. Seria, her ignore defense is strong as a DPS, but she's rather stupid on auto, and we are trying to aim for auto clears here. Her S2 and S3 are not really that good. She doesn't even use her S3 properly. So She can do alright in like the 200-300 mil range, I think, but not necessarily the best pick, I would say. I think there are better choices than her. She's not bad, but she's not great either. You have guys have mentioned Bernheim, who can be like a support for healing reduction and a bit of amp, I believe. I'm not really sure how good Bernheim's single target DPS is. I know like Twe has used him on Xanadus, but that's a cleave situation where he's actually pretty decent. I wouldn't necessarily bring him to a single target boss because it's just not his niche, I believe. But he can be like a healing debuffer and damper. So if you do not have anyone else and had him built for like PvP, then maybe. Hilda, supposedly built for this content. I'm not quite sure on her usefulness. When built, she can be pretty decent. She has like more mana recovery, which helps. She has like a bit of healing reduction, and she can be pretty bursty with her void zone thing or void status. It's just that I'm not quite sure how good she's on auto, whether she even waits for her void to proc before using her skills. You know, that can, I think she may not be the best choice for an auto clear raid, but definitely can be used if you have her and if you have built her. Moving on, Assassin. Now this is one where we have struggled to find a good one. The best choice, in my opinion, for a magic group is Cloudie. Many people have built her for like guild conquest and world bosses, so you can fight build Cloudie. Her damage is very bursty, so it really fits for this fight, and she can just do a lot of damage. Other than Cloudie, another really good choice is actually Ezekiel, who is kind of underestimated or like a PvP meme nowadays, but he has good damage, a lot of ignore defense, which really helps here. So definitely a good choice, and yeah, he's just really good. My friend Rhea is pushing like 600 mil DPS with her Ezekiel, so definitely not a bad choice. Apis also has a lot of ignore defense and like fairly short cooldowns, which gives her pretty decent bursts, so not too bad either, but she can't really utilize her harvest passive where she needs to kill stuff. Other than these, Miriam is also fairly nice. Mid-range cooldowns and can be pretty bursty, which helps here. And finally, Kibera, mostly a PvP character, but there are some clears with Kibera because some people have built him super high. So he's definitely not too bad in PvE, can be used even on like stage 5. If you have him, he can be used. So yeah, but definitely Cloudie are the best choice, I believe. Archer. Now, archers are an interesting class because a lot of them are just PvP memes, and not too many people use archers in really high-end PvE content. Now the best choice, I believe, is Talisha, who has a lot of ignore def on her, brings a lot of buffs to the raid, healing and mana regeneration, and she has the tier 2 perk which lets her reduce healing on the boss. So if you have to bring an archer anyway, because you do after stage 5, then she is definitely a good choice. I have heard reports that she can push around 500 mil DPS. I haven't seen that. I have seen one whale Talisha barely doing above 100 mil, but that was a badly built Talisha because my 4-star base soul weapon can push almost the same number, so pretty sure that something was wrong with that one. But yeah, definitely I would say Talisha is the best choice. Moving on to the others, Dimel. I know there are clears with Dimel because his ignore defense auto attack should be good. So and I have been told that when not casting skills is actually good for him. So who knows, the mana drain might be good for him. But yeah, has ignore defense, can clear, so can be alright. It's just that nowadays not many people build Dimel. Luna has not been in a great spot for PvE for some time now. There are clears with her, but I wouldn't recommend unless you already have her and you do not have any other options. Arch. Now Arch is an interesting choice because he has some counters to magic, and that helps with this fight. And he has ignore defense skills. Definitely not a bad choice. He's one of the recommended heroes on the raid page. So Arch not bad, it's just not someone I would pick for first, but I know some people like him. Yuria, mostly a PvP meme these days. She has ignore defense, but I think her DPS potential is a bit limited. She can be used as a buffer, so I know that there are some clears with her as well. Wouldn't be my first choice, but she can be used. Shamila is kind of a PvP meme, but there are also some clears with her, so not useless. I think most people will just bring her for the healing reduction, but who knows? I'm not that familiar with Shamila because I said PvP meme. Also, she is like the original Ara Ara girl, so who knows? She can be used, just not my top choice. Moving on, mechanics. Now, mechanics are an interesting topic because some of the best buffer units are among mechanics. One of them, Annette, who is one of the recommended characters. She brings continuous healing, CC immunity, a lot of amp, even mana regen with her soul weapon, and she cleanses a lot, which helps here with your DPS because the boss has like a 17-second cooldown, DPS reduction debuff. So, and having Annette in the party definitely is good. She also counters some of the crit down, which can be cleansed, but auto team. So my numbers personally have been better with Annette than with Odi, who is also the other staple choice, mainly due to his cooldown resetting skills. So other than that, he usually doesn't add much to the team, but that can really help with like burstiness, and also with the right perk he refills everyone's mana, which helps in this raid where your mana regen is also a bit limited or more limited. So Oddie or Annette would be the two top choices. I personally like Annette more, but I know a lot of people like Oddie. Krisha can be used like a hybrid DPS buffer. She has ignore defense, which is not too bad. It's just she's mostly a PvP character these days. Not that many people build her for PvE. Not necessarily a top choice. She has some good stuff, even healing reduction, so can be employed. There are clears with her. Again, not a top choice. Kara. The Kara really suffers as a DPS on this fight because getting sealed will cancel her S3, and on auto she is just really not smart recasting it with the little mana that she has. She will often use it on her S1 and S2 and then do not have mana at all to get back into her siege form, so this really hampers her DPS. We have tried an A220 Kara, she just wasn't doing too much damage, and due to her high attack speed, she was triggering the Venom skill of the boss very fast. We were getting a lot of those, and after a while he was just breaking through our shields and completely destroying our healing, so we vibed super fast with Kara. So on auto, I think she's not really viable. There are some clears, but I would say they are probably manual ones, or like very OP teams where she didn't need to provide too much of what she does. Yeah, so definitely Kara wasn't working for us in our testing, sadly. And that's all the magic mechanics. Yeah, I'm saying mechanic again. Let's see, wizards. Cleo, I haven't really seen Cleo clears above stage 4. She's not really a single target character. The best choice, of course, first of all, is Lorraine, I believe, who brings her dots really do a lot of damage. She can have also like buff perks while she's at it. She can do healing reduction, she can do amp, she brings a lot of CC, which helps with survival, and definitely she's just a very strong character who does not rely on her skills, so mana is not much of an issue with her. Has high damage potential, can go into the 300 plus range with a good team. Definitely advisable even as a support or as a DPS, so she would be my top choice. You have told about Cleo, not really recommended. Maria, Pavel are like PvP characters. Aisha is in an interesting spot. Her own DPS is not terribly great, but due to her high hit count she can trigger the boss's sealing mechanic a lot, which gives you a pretty massive damage buff. It should be around 70% as far as I know. So if you have very good DPS in your team and want to speed up your clears, adding Aisha is an option because it will trigger that 8-second buff more often for you. But you do not need to trigger it more than 8 seconds every time, so hit or miss. If you have a build Aisha, she can be alrightish. And yeah, the 8-second banishment is kind of alright with her cooldowns, which are around that time. Luisia, very strong in single target fights, but has a fairly long ramp up. I know there are clears with her, But yeah, I think she's kind of ripe for a revamp as well. She could use a bit of a buff, but definitely not bad of a character. And I said there are clears with her. Ophelia, more of a PvP character these days. I think she can be used. There are clears with her. It's just I think she's a bit stupid on auto, and that doesn't help with her damage. So hit and miss. Can be used, not my top choice. Same with Artemia. She's more of an AoE type of character, I believe, and relies a lot on resetting her skills. Otherwise, she can't do that much damage. Also, she's very mana hungry, so that doesn't really help here. Esker is an interesting choice, who can be one of the very powerful single target wizard DPS, but he has a fairly long ramp up time, so definitely would need skill resets to ramp up his S3 as fast as possible. Also, he's kinda mana hungry, so not necessarily my top choice, but he's not bad. He has ignore defense on his skill 1, so that's definitely nice, and he can double down as a buffer for your team, so not necessarily a bad choice. Xera. Xera is an interesting choice because she has a lot of damage potential. It's just that the auto can really mess up her darkness phases, like trigger darkness, then use her soul weapon, which triggers her darkness again, and then she gets banished. Then you lose out on all your DPS potential on the 10-second window because you just got banished again. And then she's hitting like wet paper after she comes out of the banishment. So she can have real high burst and she can have real low numbers too. I have been using her in my own rounds and she's not bad. Just I'm not sure if she's the best choice. I think if I had to choose, I would still go with Lorraine. But she also provides healing reduction, some amp. She can cleanse with her S3, so can be a support wizard if you do not have anyone else. Final, Veronica. For real bursty teams that have very strong DPS in the other slots, Veronica is an option. There have been clears with her, even physical team clears with her because she's a general buffer. So yeah, Veronica can be used. It's just you need very strong DPS on the other slots if you are not bringing a DPS wizard. And finally, Priest. Now, of course, the top choice is Fallen Frey. Her shields are super OP here, even though she can be a bit stupid about using her S3 and letting your team die while their shield is down. You can't really do much with that other than like macroing her shield, but then you lose out on her amps a bit. So yeah, you need a fairly fat Frey for stage 5. I would say 900k attack is about where she becomes useful on stage 5. But you can also boost it with like Blessing of Earth. And yeah, definitely Fallen Frey is the best choice, I would say. And like based on the clear teams, others say that too. Now the first two, interestingly, Frey and Kala doesn't show any clear teams now in the statistics, which is interesting. But Kala has a very long cooldown heal, so he's not really good, I believe. Maybe with a super fat Annette who can keep your team alive during the burst when Kala is not healing. But yeah, it would not be a good choice. Frey shield should be nice, it's just that because of her cooldowns the uptime is a bit tricky. Maybe with a high pocket watch it should be possible. Yeah, not necessarily the best choice. And I also haven't seen any clear teams on stage 5 with her, which is interesting. Maybe the statistics page is a bit bugged, I'm not sure, but there weren't any when I just checked. Refi has a fairly consistent heal and can provide magic defense, which is not too bad. His amping is not too great, so probably not the greatest choice, but he should be great for survival, and there are clear teams with him. Bao, Leo, Cassandra are all PvP memes, so not gonna list them at all. Laias has been used both in magic and physical teams. She provides lots of survivability against magic teams or magic damage, and she has mana regen, which helps the team in general, but her other buffs are a bit lacking. Cassandra is more, or Mediana, sorry, is more of a physical hero. Same with Rehart now. Lavriel provides like 0 healing and is not really useful in this fight because her buffs only go to the highest attacker. I haven't actually seen a stage 5 clear with Lavriel. Lucius, PvP character. Shea, perhaps the second most picked choice after Fallen Frey, provides some amp, healing, and some buffs and provides mana regen, which really helps here. If you have one build, then she's not too bad. It's just on auto. She's not the smartest character there is, but she can be used, and there are a lot of clear teams with her. Evan, again, more of a physical character. And May, interestingly, May has been used in quite a few clear teams, which is interesting. I reckon it should be a more veiled May who can cast her S2 regularly, because her healing is pretty like periodic. Like, she does have a heal over time effect, but it's like very minimal, and you would have to stay alive in between those. But her buffs affect the entire team, so she could be useful. So to recap, the top choices in my opinion are Mora for warrior, either Kirze or Visca, assassin, Laudia, archer, Talisha at the end there, mechanic, either Annette or Oddi, for wizard, Lorraine or Xera maybe, and for priest, Fallen Frey definitely, or if you do not have her, a Shell can be useful. So yeah, I think that's all the characters that are related to magic damage in one or the other way. I hope you guys find this useful. I'm losing my voice here, so I'm gonna call it quits here. Thank you for watching so far. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment section below. And this has been Cloudie for now. See you in the next one. Bye bye.